Alright everybody, so we just came to the end of a long but a fun month testing the new pilot tractor, and the model that I had was the LS MT232. And if you're new to the channel, I make videos with LS tractors for LS, and they asked me if I would like to test one of their new tractors in the MT2 series, and they wanted me to put 100 hours on it doing different jobs with it. Now, I wasn't the only one. 10 tractors were sent out in the US, and I was told 10 tractors in South Korea were also being tested. So, and those would be different models, different horsepower. And like I said, mine was a 32 horsepower with a cab. And so I said yes, but I knew it was going to be a challenge. And it was a challenge because I work a full-time job, but we ended up doing it. And I just want to go over some of the things that we did with it. I know starting off, I got it, and my first opinions of it, you know, I never had a cab tractor before. That cab is so nice, and I'm spoiled now, I will say that. But getting in it is a little bit tight, but once you're in there, that tractor, right off the bat, I noticed it was comfortable. The controls were easy to get to, and one thing I also noticed was being on my hillsides, it didn't take me very long to feel comfortable with that tractor on the hillsides. I don't know if the cab had something to do with that or what, but it's a very user-friendly tractor, especially if you've never driven one before with the hydrostatic transmission. It was a very easy tractor to pick up on. So one of the first jobs I did with it was I took it down there in my ditch in the field across the road, and it was all overgrown. It had some trees growing in it. We dug them up, the shrubs and the trees, with the backhoe, and then we brush hogged all that, and we cleaned it up real nice, and then we pushed those trees into the ditch. So whenever I get the grapple, I'll go ahead and clean that up. And then after that, we started brush hogging, and we did a lot of mowing with this tractor, and I used it on my field edges, and I expanded a lot of my fields and got them back. And then I took that thing up some steep hills, and I even went down a hill that I've never been down before, even with my 40 horsepower tractor. And that thing held back very well in low gear. I was very happy with that. So then after that, I threw the tiller on, which I have a 5-foot tiller, and I didn't film it this time, but I did use the tractor to do the final till on my pumpkin patch before I planted our big pumpkin patch with all the white and orange pumpkins. So it did a good job on that. It was a piece of cake. It ran that 5-foot tiller, a piece of cake. And then I took it over to those fields across the road and leveled out places in those fields that I couldn't mow before. And by the end of it, I was able to sit that tractor sideways on what used to be a slip there, because I was able to level all that out with the tiller and the tractor. And it handled it just fine on unbroken ground, as well as the pumpkin patch. So then I decided I wanted to try to see if it would pick up an IBC tote full of firewood. And it did. The only thing that it wouldn't do, it wouldn't curl the firewood tote back, but it would lift it up just fine. But I would definitely recommend having counterweight on the back, because it was a little bit tipsy even with the backhoe on. And then after that, we started working on a mudslide that I had out in one of my fields. It happened years ago, so I started digging all that out, and I completely dug out all the dirt from that mudslide and put it in a pile, and I started hauling a lot of it back to the house. We leveled out the backyard, and then we put a little bit of a slope away from the house to keep water out of the basement, and it dug up that mudslide piece of cake. So then we figured out the regens, we figured out how to get it started. It only lasts a half hour whenever it starts, and we did 2 of them, and it seems to be in the 30 to 45 hour range that you're going to have a regen. So that's a pretty good gap between regens. And then next I made a video going over all the features of the tractors, and I'm going to put these video clips up here or over here. I'm not sure which side it is, but that way if you want to check them out, you can click on them and check out those videos. But I went over all the features of the tractor and showed where the filters and everything are. And then after that, I showed you how to put the backhoe back on, because taking it off is easy. and putting it on, just a little bit more tricky, but once you get the hang of that backhoe, it's not bad at all. And then after that, we went out and we drug a tree out with the backhoe, and then we were able to pick up pretty good sized logs with that backhoe to make it easier to cut so we didn't have to bend over. Just another test I wanted to try. And then our final test was to try to see if we could bust off the fuel filter, because I figured that was going to be a concern among a lot of you, because the fuel filter sits low and it's big. So we ran over piles of logs and sticks, and nothing ever really came close to it. So I think it's going to be safe, especially if they end up putting some brackets beside it. So like I said, I'll put all these videos up here for you, that way you can check them out. And I hope you've enjoyed this series of videos. I've tried to do my best. I want you guys to know that, and LS. I tried to think of different things to do with it. I tried to push it to its limit, and I did work it as hard as I possibly could. And we did have some trouble throughout the month. My grandmother passed, and then there at the end, my back went out. So I had some trouble, and thankfully I had my father-in-law and brother-in-law help me to put those hours on. But we ended up putting 100 hours on it in a month, and it was a fun month. I'm glad they asked me to do it, and like I said, I hope you all enjoyed these videos. So moving forward, some of you have asked what's going to happen next. Well, that's still to be determined. We're getting ready to get that going, but there will be some more tractors coming. I don't know what they're going to be yet, but yes, we're going to keep making these videos. This is not over. This tractor will be shipping out here soon. But yeah, we're going to keep making LS tractor videos. So if you have not yet subscribed, please do. That way you can keep up with the projects that we get into with these LS tractors. And if you think this is a video that someone you know might be looking for, that's researching tractor brands, go ahead and share it with them. That way they can see how I tested it anyway. I'm not sure what the other guys ended up doing with their tractors, but like I said, I tried to work mine as hard as I could. I hope you enjoyed these videos, and be sure to stay tuned to see what we get next. So until next time, thanks for watching.